So, okay, so we are looking at question one. We took some values from the given problem, x1, n1, x2, and n2. So we identified our variables that we were given. We were putting them into our calculator here. So we went to stat, we go over to test, and we went down to that two prop. So two proportion z-test. And so I'd already, well, actually I was going to. So we're going to put 304. We go to interim exactly the way we wrote them. And then 376. We'll go down for x2 was 325. And then we'll go down to n2. We have 376. Okay. And then if we come to this, there in parts like B or C earlier on, because we're just looking at kind of at the last parts. You would have identified your null hypothesis and you would have identified the alternative hypothesis from whatever they asked for. So they asked for decreasing. We're going to say P1 has to be greater than P2 is I think the condition for this one that we had just discussed. And then you'll go down to calculate. And when you hit calculate, that's going to give you your Z statistic. It actually gives you all the values you need for this problem. So you could even do this early on if you wanted, like read through the problem. And you don't have to do a lot of it by hand at all. Because I think part A wanted your proportions, and those are right here. And this is just, once you have that, then you can put your Z statistic in. So Corey, do you see the Z? For this one would be -2. And I think they had you doing, let me see how many how many decimal places we wanted.
Thank you. Two.
Oh yeah, 2. So we wanted it to 2
Wait,
decimal
wait.
places.
I think the P was wrong.
The P was wrong for this one.
Well, go back to the problem real quick.
Oh, this isn't the same problem. I was using your problem. But we can do yours together in a second.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
No,
we'll do but I'll
like,
have you do your actual one and we'll do that together. I went back to just doing this one since I already had the numbers up
makes sense. Okay.
and in the problem. Yeah, no, you're fine. And then my p-value that they gave me is for this one, your p-value is 0.98, 0.980. And it's like 79, I'd probably round to 0.8. I'm not sure how many decimal places we do on that. Does it tell me? I just borrowed this. 3. Okay. And so this one is going to be, it's going to be a similar result to what we have there though. I'm going to show you in a second. So 3 decimal places would be 0.1. Now for this last part here, this is kind of good. I'm going to borrow this. This is not the correct problem, y'all. Our p-value here is greater too. Our p-value in this case, the one I just solved, is very, very large, right? 0.98. That's very, very, very large. If our significance level or our alpha is 0.1.
Right.
And if that's true, which is that alpha that we have? When that's true, since it's greater, just like they say here, you fail to reject.
Okay.
So when your p-value is larger than your significance level, you're going to fail to reject. The null hypothesis. So you always return your answer in terms of the null hypothesis, either reject or fail to reject. If it's really large, you're going to fail to reject. So that means the null hypothesis. In this case, there doesn't seem to be, there's not an indication. So there's insufficient evidence to support the claim that the percentage is less than. So if you're trying, whatever you're trying to say, you can't prove it based on the data that you're given in this case. So you fail to reject the null hypothesis. And that means there is insufficient evidence. So I want to compare this to the one we did last class. It'll help. Sufficient evidence. And then it's to support the claim. And then whatever was there. We'll put the claim. And in our case, it would be less than because we said decreasing. So that is that. Let me put this up here because ours should be similar here to this. We can go through that part together in a little more detail in a second. I'm waiting for this to pop up.
You made this look too easy.
That's the goal though. We want to make it easier. So that makes me feel better because it's this, there's no reason this should be harder than chemistry. I told you I put chemistry off for years. I'm not even joking. Like I took it in college the first time when I was very young at a big school. And then I needed to take the second part and I didn't learn anything in that first part. Wait, just stop. So when I went to have to go retake it, I was like, I went back and I retook it. But I did it like 2 or 3 years ago. And chemistry was easier now, but this to me was always so the p-value. So it's a rule. If your p-value is greater, then you're going to fail to reject. So you're always comparing your p-value to that significance level. And so if you fail to reject it, then that always means there's insufficient evidence for whatever your claim is. The last part's really going back to that what we set up at the beginning, and that was the question they should have asked you. And it would have been, is there significant results? Where would be here? This is it. Consider. This is the part I needed right here. Because they were asking you to consider whether those things were true. And you're using your p-values to determine that. So that's the part we needed to help us with that statement. Because I didn't see it on the screen. I was like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be saying here. So I always refer back to the initial question because that tells you what you're asking. And then that helps you determine what you want to answer. Put this in here too, because I think this will help a lot of people. You're not the only person. That the hypothesis testing, the hard part is figuring out how to answer those questions. So perform the hypothesis test and then using that significance level. So we needed that. And that's what you're comparing to that p-value that you'll get at. And population 1 is this and population 2. So we were saying from the beginning, we were saying population 1 is greater than population 2, or the ritonavir boosted. Goodness, these are hard words for me, but I mean, I guess it's good for people because this is a real application. They do stuff like this all the time in medical fields. Beer. So this one actually would have been the other way, right? When you did it, this question, I'm sorry, I read this one wrong. So this question would have been the opposite, Corey. So every one of them changes. I think that may be part of the problem on this when people are doing it. Because like the question that this is a different question that I took. The question that I took was a less than this way. Do you see it?
Yeah.
So when y'all are setting it up, whatever your question is, make sure that you answer that question. So I'm going to actually maybe remove this one just because I don't want to confuse people, but use that question to help you answer. So maybe we should just go through one of them all together because that's kind of confusing having them together. I'm going to leave that. Let's try one more maybe. Or do you want to do yours? Like put yours up and we can do it, or tell me your numbers or something.
Yeah, we can do my numbers real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. And what it was question, so it's 8.4 question 1. So another version. So you have question 1. Okay. So what did you have then?
The numbers were 32.
And so like just make sure
305.
when we're doing it, you're paying like so right now we're just gonna pull up so we'll get our X1 in one. So X1 was what?
305.
305. Perfect. What was the N one?
321.
321. Okay. And what was your X2?
Oh, I'm sorry. The N1 was 372. They have the same.
Very similar.
Yeah, they have the same ends.
Okay. And then so N2. Okay.
And then the X2 is 321.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Perfect. Oh, am I not sharing my screen? Oh, I am. Am I?
No, you are. I can see.
Oh, no. Okay, I got worried for a second. I was like, okay. So we have that part. And we can put this in. They don't tell you your significance level, I guess, till the next part, do they?
No.
That's annoying. Okay. So for part A, they just want you to calculate it. So we could just do that by hand, I guess.
Yeah.
Where did my calculator go? Here it is. So if I quit this, and I don't think I can make this any bigger. We can try. You know. So 305 over 376. Do you know how many decimal places it wants us to go to?
2 decimal places.
It was 372. I just said it wrong. So it'd be 0.82, right? So my P1 should equal.
It was 0.81.
Well, would you round up to the 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was 819. So 81819. And then we're gonna round that to 0.82. So just make sure that's good. P2. Let's see. Let's do the same thing. 321 divided by 372. We're gonna
0.8.
get 0.862. Good. And that's gonna give me
86.29.
Yep. And I think are we returning these as percents on that part?
Yeah, percents.
Oh, they did have percents. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where the 2 decimal were. I see what you were saying now. I apologize. So yeah, they want these as percents. Okay. So then just kidding. Let me go back to this. Let's do 1989. I'll just leave some stuff here. Right. We have our 29. We multiply them both by that 100%, which it sounds like you've got this part down, Corey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Awesome. 100%. So that gives me 81.99%. Is that what you had? Awesome. And then 86. And I didn't bring anything behind it because the 29 had a bunch of zeros. Oops, I wrote that wrong. 8629%. Excellent. Okay. And that was a part A.
Yes.
Great.
And then after the
now we got the big paragraph, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't get overwhelmed. I know it's a lot of words, and some of them are really big, scary words. So we're just gonna kind of try to make it easy. So we've got, what was the question they asked, I guess, or if you can summarize.
Consider population want to be Renton very boosted. Okay. P1 and P2 population be terrific. These words are crazy.
So is this the same one? These are that part's the same, right? But the part up top when they're saying that part, I need that. So we're gonna say, so P1 is going to be our ritonavir boosted, right? I think that stays the same. P2 is going to be the Dorovine. I'm shortening this. I'm sorry if y'all are medical. These are hard for me to do. Okay. But your question up here is going to be different. So everybody's gonna have a different question on this than like the person next to you. Because some people's may be decreasing, some people's may say less than. It really just depends on the problem you have. So what do you have for yours? Up here, what does it say for the first sentence? Perform a hypothesis test to test
less than the proportion.
So for the P1, the ritonavir, so you're performing a hypothesis test to test whether the ritonavir boosted, right? Is, and its proportion is less than the doravirine. Okay, boosted. So in that case, when we go to translate it, awesome, we got it. We are doing P1, and this is our alternative. I should mention that to you in our H1. And I think you had that part too, right? P1 is less than P2. Oh, that goes equal first, Alicia. Equal, and then our P1 and P2 down here is less than our P2. So everybody, I think that part, I think people are good here is when we get to, so that's part B, and then we go into our Z-score, right? What was the significance level? That's the other thing we need. So your significance level in part B, what did it list? Was yours 0.1 or was it something else? 0.01?
0.01.
Okay. And we're gonna do it at the 0.01 significance level. Okay, excellent. So we have this piece. To do that, we want to come to our calculator here, and we are going to say, I have Stat, we're gonna go over. So we're using our stat. And then we're gonna go to test, right?
Okay.
Good.
And then the 2 proportion test.
Yep, we got it. Perfect. Number 6, 2 proportion test. Awesome. And we're gonna enter our numbers in that we had above. Come here, buddy. You can come up here. So 305. And then I've got 372. So it seems similar, which is 372. Oh, that's not right. 372. 321. Excellent. And 372. Excellent. Good. For ours, it's P1. We said it was less than, right? So we're filling in our null hypothesis, our alternative hypothesis down here, because the null is always assumed to be that they're equal. So we're gonna just do the P1 is less than P2. We're gonna go down and we will calculate that. And when I get here, I now have, so you get your Z value out.
And the P. Oh.
So my Z value is,
It's, oh my gosh, it did the graph.
it's okay, you can go back to it. If you go back to it, it's okay.
Negative 1.7003.
Yep, or yeah, 0, yeah, good. So I had 0028 something, and then if you're rounding to how many ever places, yeah, perfect.
Okay.
And then for your P value, sorry, she just gave me coffee and I'm choking. I don't have a drink. My P value is right beneath it. It's the P equals 0.044538. No, 5, 6, 9. It keeps going. So we'll round this. How many places did it want for that?
I think you wanted 2.
Okay, so that's really easy. 0.04. Now we're comparing this. We'll always list our p-value first to our significance, which was, so I'm not gonna put a symbol yet, but 0.01. So this one is greater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our p-value is greater. So when our p-value is greater than our significance level.
So the test statistic isn't negative 1.7.
That is the test statistic. So your test statistic, your Z value is this. Your P value that your is. I went down to the next part. I'm sorry.
P value 0.0445, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
It's saying
it's not right.
It's saying the correct answer was negative 1.61
for Z.
For the test, yeah, for Z.
Are these? So we had 305. Let me double check my numbers. Maybe was it 372 for both of them?
No, I'm about to look it up. 0.0445.
Oh, you know what? I put 304. I hit the wrong button.
Oh.
So you have to type correctly too. That would help.
Okay.
Oh boy. The coffee. It's good I got the coffee right. Let's see. Yeah, 0.5. See, it makes a big change. I'm so sorry. My p-value is 0.5. See, I'm so sorry. I was off by 1. I hit the wrong key. My calculator. I am so sorry. So yeah, be very careful.
Okay.
So 0.54. So here's the thing. If you all are doing this correctly, right, and you have the right stuff written down on your formula sheet, or you go back and do it, that's something when I go over and look at it, I would give you points back or something like that. So, I mean, I'm going to go through and change all those points over Thanksgiving for things. So y'all's grades are going to go up.
Okay. So, I was going to ask you, like, what
Yes.
grade do you need to pass in this class?
Like a 70.
Oh my God.
Why? Corey, you're going to be fine, I would think, based on like talking to you.
I'm at like a 66.5.
Because we haven't gone back and done things. And have you done all the homework?
I have, but there's some of them is like
Okay.
struggling.
Well, what we need to do then is like go back and raise those up. So start anything you have a question on, will you put them in the chat? Like I'm not like I really want y'all to do that because I could the benefit of it, and I started doing this for all my classes because I realized a lot of people were asking the same questions and I was sending emails to individual people. If we post them in here, then you can go back and look if you're having trouble on it, or other people can see it and they can use it when they're doing that problem. So like if somebody's not here, they can go back and be like, hey, here's this problem and I can use it. That's what I would like. Because I'm having students, it's happening a little more in some of my other classes, but I would love for it to happen in here too. I think it'll help a lot. And like Reed is ahead and he's offered to help when people have questions. I mean, I've gone through like last night, I sat there for a while. Like I've just been going in. I said that yesterday afternoon, like I was hanging out with some people and I was doing stuff. I went in, I added more to the problems that Emma had asked. Like these, because it showed you kind of the test statistic and things that we were doing for these. So if your p-value is less than, you reject. If it's greater than, you'll fail to reject. So you have these notes now for the ones that we've done. And I think it'll help. And I'll keep doing it for any questions, even if it's not this section, even if it's old sections, if we need to, because when we start studying for the final, we can go back and pull those things forward. Does that make
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, because that way we can go through, hopefully everybody can get caught up. That would be my goal. So since the p-value is greater, you would say, let me see how do the words go? Let me see.
The significance level of
Since the p-value is greater than, okay, I was trying to see how the order. Yeah, since in this case it would be p-value, and it was greater than. So I'm trying to highlight the ones we need to, let me see. Greater than, your significant, turn it off. Your significance level. And then you're going to say you fail to reject. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Your null hypothesis. Oh, I think I put gray. And then it would be, that means there's insufficient evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to put whatever the claim is that they had you doing above. So go back to what they said. I am not good with words. It's funny because I did really well in English in high school. Like I had perfect scores apparently on my English part of my ACTs, I think. I couldn't do it today because it's not something I practice all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, words are not my favorite. I'm not always the best at it. So what I'll do is I go back up. What was my question? Feel there's not to show that ritonavir boosted is less than. So you go right back here. So these are the words we want. So it should be something similar to that in that answer. Does that look right?
Yeah.
So they're just pulling that straight down. So that'll help a lot if you kind of see that formula, I think. Because I mean, yeah.
So 8.4 is basically just what we did. The
Right,
whole
exactly.
verbatim. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, and that's where I wanted to get everything will get easier. We'll do these things like this to support. Do you want to try it? And then are you okay on the other parts of 8.4? Were there other sections or other questions in 8.4 where you're stuck?
There's other questions, but I'll probably just sit down and just put in the chat if I need anything.
Yes, can you please? Because I will this is what I wanted it to be all along, where we can go back and have these for everyone. And like the reason I was asking y'all to put the questions at the top is it's long, I know, but if we fold it down, you can start to see the questions. So you don't have to look at all of them. It was like that way we can be like, hey, I need to go back. And the question identifier will be on the practice test. So when you get stuck on the practice test, you can actually go back here and look for them as well.
Okay.
So what was question one? What was that question identifier?
For the one we just did?
Yeah, up at the top. It's like 8.4 something. I can look. I have it too up. I have it too. Wait, here it is. 4.63. Perfect. There we go. Because now,
okay.
Yeah, because that'll be the same thing that if it's on the practice test or on the quiz, you can come back. It's here.
Okay.
Yeah, because
when is the test open again?
The test is I think the week after Thanksgiving. It starts opening up then. Okay. So what we want to do is get 9 done and start looking at that. I haven't heard anything yet about So 9 has 3 homeworks.
Yeah, I was working on 9, but
How is it going?
it's okay. I mean, right now, 7. It looks like test 3 is probably going to be the hardest test for me, but I'm taking it slow. I'm gonna
Yeah,
figure it
take
out.
it slow and let's go through it. Let's go through the practice test. And let's go. That's what I would like. We can talk about go through 9 and send me the ones that are having questions with, and we'll be posting things in there and then we can talk more about it next Tuesday.
Okay.
And then I would like for folks, if they have time, I don't like to give stuff over Thanksgiving, but if people have time or if they're willing to look at the practice test, then we could be talking about that when we come back, along with the practice test is 8, 7, 8, and 9. So I figured everyone could work on 7, 8, and 9 together
Yeah.
with the practice test. Like, well, I left them open, I think, through the end of the test.
Yeah, I'm
But
probably gonna do the practice test when I get back from orientation.
where's orientation?
UCF tomorrow morning.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, good. No, you're gonna be fine. Just because some of this is definitions in here for sure. Sorry, I'm sneezing a lot.
Are you okay?
And then if we go to the next part here. So we're getting into the different hypothesis tests in here and just kind of wrapping it up. We're going to create some confidence intervals, which was something we've seen before. So it's getting a little more familiar. And then we can tile this up. So this is really going back to those definitions of confidence intervals and like thinking a little bit about it. But I think you're going to be okay. Anything you just go through, do the ones you can't, the ones you're able to first. The ones you cannot, put in the chat so that we can go through them and talk about them together. It's perfect. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for coming and asking questions.
Oh, no
I'm
problem.
glad we were able to clear that up. I'm glad we recorded it so now everybody can see it. So thanks a
All right.
lot.